The Norfolk Southern disaster in East Palestine, Ohio is connected directly by water to the states of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And when you get to the coast, Alabama, Florida, and Texas. People do not understand the magnitude of this catastrophe.
Things that we didn't know. There were 3 train cars of diethylene glycol. One of the cars completely spilled and 2 of them were leaking. This chemical is flammable, it's toxic, it's used in the manufacturing of plastics. It's also used in some brake fluids. Based on the tank car class, that's these things here, there is at least 16,000 gallons that were lost. No definitive indication whether if it was burned or if it was just spilled. There's 1 car of polypropylene glycol that was breached. This is also a chemical that's used in the manufacturing of plastics. There's 1 tank car of propylene glycol. 16,000 gallons of it pouring into ground isn't great. The butyl acrylate that they did mention earlier, there was 1 tank car. It was breached and then caught on fire. It's very flammable, so I assume that that has all been burned away. Talk about cars that we know burn. So we have 2 hopper cars of PE, that's polyethylene plastic. These are going to be hopper cars of little plastic pellets. 4 hopper cars of what is labeled as polyvinyl. They're hopper cars, so I'm assuming that this is PVC, polyvinyl chloride pellets. On the railroad, there's 1 burned, there's 1 burning, and 2 that had some amount burned. Toxic byproducts to the PVC burning, like the vinyl chloride burning itself. 1 car of balls burned, 1 car of sheet steel burned, 1 car of frozen veg, and then 1 car of powdered flakes. Not sure what the flakes are. List an unknown status for the ethylene glycol monobutyl and the ethyl hexyl acrylate. Now this is the big thing. There were 2 cars of petroleum oil completely gone, and 3 that lost some amount. These kinds of tank cars can hold anywhere from 16 to 30,000 gallons.
If you have not evacuated, please leave the area.
The 150-car Norfolk Southern Railroad train was headed to Pennsylvania from Illinois when it derailed Friday night.
Now, 4 of the cars of that train were carrying a chemical called vinyl chloride. It's a very dangerous chemical if ingested or breathed in. Officials tell us the vinyl chloride is not on fire. Again, it's not on fire. One of the cars is slowly leaking pressure, which is what it is supposed to do to prevent an explosion.
At least 1 vinyl chloride car is intermittently releasing the contents of the car through a pressure relief device as designed.
We're going to place a small shape charge. It's going to create a hole about 2.5 to 3 inches in the tank car. This will allow the material to come out of the tank car. It'll go into a pit and trench that we have dug and set up for this operation. Inside that trench will be flares lining that trench that then will light off the material.
Railroad crews lit the fire themselves in what Norfolk Southern calls a controlled release.
We then made the decision to go ahead with the second option, which was the controlled release.
Crews announced they were putting a plan into motion to release toxic chemicals from those 5 cars.
After a controlled release of hazardous materials.
Controlled release of vinyl chloride.
Today's blast is a direct result of a controlled release of those hazardous chemicals.
Crews completed a controlled release of a hazardous chemical.
Officials say they chose a controlled explosion.
If we don't do that, we can't control where that goes.
As that next storm system moves in, that next change in the air mass moves in, that will help as well to kind of disperse all of this vinyl chloride that's been kind of put into the atmosphere with that smoke.
The company that owns these rail cars says that planned explosion tonight was successful.
Officials say a controlled burn of toxic chemicals has gone as planned.
I want to reassure Pennsylvanians that the process is proceeding as planned.
The EPA has confirmed that vinyl chloride from this train has entered the Ohio River Basin, a major water source for working people in the Midwest. This crisis puts Local 1 members from Indianapolis to Cincinnati in danger, and the worst part of this was preventable. Community members are having trouble breathing, animals are dying, and families are scrambling to find safety. This is an ecological disaster that could have long-term repercussions.
This is bad, people. This is like the atom bomb going off in the United States of America.
You guys scooping out all the dead ones?
If you look at the highlighted area, they own 1,432 farms, and people are saying there's more now, because if you look right here, I'm gonna highlight this area. They added 250 something farms, so you got to think about now. Okay, they may own close to 2,000 farms. This is like the Lancaster all the way over to Western Pennsylvania area. Okay, we're not even talking about all the other farms in Western Pennsylvania and Palestine, Ohio area. All right, and remember they said that this also affected the Ohio River. So yeah, hey, you may see food prices go up on all different type of things because of this.
The process is proceeding as planned.